This pandemic has brought a huge crisis. It has impacted lives across the globe. There is no country in the world which has remained unimpacted. In these circumstances, our narrative is the only way to build hope. VYAPT Growth Series is helping thousands of people understand the growth prospect of various industries and segments in quarters to come. This has helped them look at brighter side of life from perils of adversity. The growth opportunities ahead and changed landscape talks about adapting to the new normal, alternate thinking and skilling to provide solutions to much needed problems. The inspirational leaders on our platform do not just talk, but they speak their hearts and share their mind for the better world ahead. Love, care, compassion shown by these leaders on these platforms today shows their tall stature, and this would be a story to share by thousands of people who would rise from gloom and doom to chase their dreams, to shine and flourish. In our growth series today, we have with us Mr. Prashant Patil, a veteran of power industry with more than 2 decades of experience, currently leading India and South Asia business of Innio, which is a leading solution provider of reciprocating gas engines, power equipments, digital platform, and services focused on power generation and gas compression. Welcome to our show, Prashant.
Thank you, Pankaj. Thanks again for this opportunity. And let me first compliment to you and as well as the entire VYAPT team on behalf of entire Innio organization for bringing this wonderful series of growth and hope, especially during this pandemic series. So looking forward for the discussion. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Prashant. We would like to start with our first curiosity. What are the challenges and opportunities pandemic has created for economy and your industry?
Fantastic and very pertinent question, Pankaj. So let me start with beginning saying that according to the World Bank Economic Outlook, more than 90% countries are in recession today. South Asia is not an exception, and we are experiencing the recession. So maybe let's take an example of India and analyze the challenges and opportunities that we are discussing here. A quick note, I'm sure you must have also taken a record of this. April to June 2020, the GDP has diminished by a massive 23.9%. This includes the government spending too. This is usually government spending is about 8 to 15% of our GDP. If you take out the government spending, then the GDP further shrinks to 29.3%. So there is no doubt we are in recession. Let's analyze and how does we look from here. Historically, Indian GDP growth is driven by 4 pillars mainly. Pillar 1 is the demand and consumption. India is a large country driven by 1.3 billion population, with 65% of them below the age of 35. Now, due to the lockdown, all of us are inside the home, and so the demand and consumption has gone down. So this is the first pillar that has been adversely impacted. Pillar 2, which is manufacturing, we'll talk more about this, which has been adversely impacted because of the major supply chain disruptions that industries are experiencing, whether it's a small scale, large scale, or a medium one. Of course, as the lockdown eases up, we shall see the momentum coming back, but it will take a little bit while to get that momentum. Third pillar of the economy has been the export. Currently, the export has been all-time low, hit by 60% now. And the last one, which I think it's a more domestic and which can be very much controlled, is the capital flow crunch, in what we talk in general terms as the money in the market. Today, because of the lockdowns and the pandemic situations, most of the companies, including you and me, have become risk averse to the investments that we wanted to plan and make and happen. The entire ecosystem is it's taking a back step in spending and investing. So these 4 pillars have been the one which have been impacted India, and hence you can see the GDP has been going down from month to month. Now, having said that, let me talk about some of the government and the Reserve Bank of India's actions. They have acted very swiftly and boldly in terms of whatever possible they can do. But let's also acknowledge that we do not have any shortcuts or no magic solutions to make a quick recovery of the recession risk. We need to work together. We need to emerge successfully from this recession. This will take time. On a lighter note, Pankaj, you've been hearing about the U recovery and V recovery and so on. Probably we will leave that to the economists to predict more better, but I think for you and me, its focus on how to come out, and it's going to take time. So let's discuss about the recovery plan, and there are the opportunities also, right? I will first focus on the capital flow, which is, I think, more important as of now. And that's mainly because whatever the government initiatives and Reserve Bank of India's initiatives, today our financial institutions and the banking systems are one of the strongest. Today we have more than 75 lakh crores of Indian rupees into the banking and financing systems. Now, this is good, but at the same time, what needs to happen is this money needs to reach the rightful industry borrowers, the people, to invest and produce and service and as well give solutions. This is a critical part of the entire capital flow crunch, and this can be addressed. There is a lot of positivity, and there can be a quick recovery, and there can be a lot of opportunities too. Next is the consumption and demand. This will bounce back. This all depends on people like you and me, and as well as industries, when we start resuming the life slowly and steadily as the lockdown eases and we come out with more cautions, we will start recovering the consumption as well as demand. Now, let me more focus on industry and as well as manufacturing, which is the topic for us today. Yes, we have in recession, but at the same time, there is a silver lining in this pandemic for few of the segment of industry. These are mainly e-commerce, digitization, online education, AI-enabled services, and as well, even the online food too. These have shown a significant growth even during the pandemic. Secondly, we have been witnessing a global push now, post-pandemic or even pre-pandemic, for a cleaner and sustainable environment. So the clean energy and electric vehicle and these kind of interrelated industries are expected to get more favorable ecosystem for growth. So not everything is looking down in pandemic. There are segments of industries which have received an upliftment. Lastly, some segments will need time, maybe more physical benefits, and require some amount of incentives too. And these are the industries which are automobile industry, construction, real estate, textile, and few others. So in that sense, now let's look at the power industry now. So, and I'll talk about how is the impact on the power industry too. Power industry is also experiencing quite a sluggish in the market, but there is also a positive side of the business for power industry with respect to clean energy. Gas engine, which is our business, is subset of the power industry. And we are expected to get some favorable ecosystem due to the fact that natural gas is arguably the less pollutant fuel compared to the diesel and coal. At this moment, let me just introduce you again to the company Innio, which makes the world-class engines. Fortunately, that is our company Innio to date has only very limited impact given because of our strong product offering, diversified footprint globally, and as well as a high share in the service sector. So in the sense, the power industry also has some positive side for the clean energy, probably where we come into picture. And of course, it would also require some push, but we will have a good opportunities coming up in the coming days.
So you are really, seeing a good amount of opportunities coming for the industry as a whole when you talk about power generation segment and other equipments related to power generation and other things. So what do you think, what are the transformations which are required to leverage the new landscape?
Yeah, this is again a very pertaining question, I would say, and relevant for today's pandemic situation, Pankaj. Let me first list down the priorities for any company during this pandemic. First and foremost is to conserve the cash and continue to make the investment and the expenditure with the caution when we do that. Second is to embrace and adopt to digital world of doing business with digital solution and offering in digital solution ways. I think I will talk a little bit more what I mean by digital solution a little bit down the line, but let me jump to the last priority I would say as a transformation. Every company, every customer is looking to optimize the cost today. So the customers too. They would like to reduce their expenses. think the time is better than ever now that we need to partner with our customers to enable the customers in achieving their operation goal through our product, through our solutions, and as well as services. I would list down into three, right? So one is the conserve your cash, embrace the digital way of doing business, and lastly, be in the customer's shoes to understand their requirements and how your product and solution can enable them to reach their goals. But it's very clear that we need to adopt to this new environment that we are going to live for some time now. And this is the new business model. We need to be successful in this too. Let me just, if I can touch upon give an example of digital solution, which I talked about. It's interesting to know that Innio is transforming, is continue to make the investments with a caution now. Today, with the deployment of our digital solutions, we are able to serve our customers to monitor their gas engines remotely, increase the availability and efficiency of these engines as well, and reduce the operation cost. And in total, the profitability of the business goes up in this pandemic for customers. Currently, as we speak, up to 3/4 of Innio's newly delivered gas engines are securely connected to the Innio's digital solution for both Innio assets and as well as other manufacturers too. Now, another part of this, which I think most would be interested, especially in this pandemic situation, is how our gas engine can help our customers not only to reduce the cost. We can also replace more pollutant diesel and coal burning by more cleaner natural gas and maybe even special gas, producing power and as well the thermal energy that is there in the gas. From our gas engine, we can also be utilized for producing steam, hot water, air conditioning for industries, hospitals, malls, other buildings, owners, and so on. So I think we can provide a lot of win-win situation for customers and as well as for us by doing savings as well as moving towards a much more cleaner energy. So this is what we call as a combined heat and power, which can result a lot of operation savings and also make the environmental much more greener. So companies need to adopt a new norm of conserving cash and embracing the digital solutions, find the way to reach and offer a solution through the digital solutions. And lastly, as we said, customers need to put into themselves into the, what best they need to have, and we need to partner together to them to save cost and be more environmental friendly too. Thank you.
So Prashant, you talked about, carrying your customers in two different ways. The first thing you talked about, your customer centricity, which is the best part of the value chain. And the second thing you talked about is carrying your customers so that they can use environment friendly, energy, and they can utilize it in a much, much better way. And I hope this pandemic has helped the world in terms of implementing the change more faster than it could have been, before the pandemic has arrived across. Fair enough. So that makes a good amount of proposition for me to ask my next curiosity. So when a lot of things are happening and people are changing their mindsets, their tastes, their liking, and the way they live their lives, do you think that there are some growth prospects of gas engine and power equipment business in India and South Asia in the next few quarters?
Absolutely, Pankaj. I think there are a lot of growth opportunities here. Let's talk about it. So maybe I think let me just start with, as a company, gas engines, where do we see growth opportunities and how we are positioned to harness these growth opportunities, right? So Innio is positioned well for fueling and handling the growth in this pandemic. Since the carve out of GE at the end of 2018, we have focused on strengthening our product portfolio, investing in digital services and capabilities, and also establishing us as a lean standalone company. As such, we are able to weather the COVID relatively better and have been seen a very less impact, I would say. That is to confirm that even in this pandemic year of 2020, we have been always delivering our engines, work with the customers on the new projects, and either remotely or even in that matter, physically go in some cases, serve the customers. So our factory, which is there in Enbach, Austria, has been operating fairly normal now. I think, of course, the safety has been a little bit taken care as such with utmost importance, but we are delivering the results. So company as such, we are well positioned for creating growth of gas engines in our region and as well as the global region. Now, let me touch with some of our regions where we see growth opportunities. Let me start with India again. Currently, India's gas contribution is about 6% of the total energy mix. That is where we stand today. But India is very committed to take this from 6% to 15% by 2030. So that's a significant, almost like a threefold jump. In fact, COVID-19 is accelerating this energy transformation much faster in India. And we are expecting close to, as per the government announcement, close to USD 60 billion coming into the natural gas sector. This investment shall go in building the LNG terminal across the coastal part of the India. And we have already reached about 39 million metric tons of capacity. And soon we will reach 50 million metric tons of capacity in a few years. Similarly, this investment continues to come in building the gas pipeline across India, currently which has reached about 17,000 kilometers and shall soon add another about 15,000 kilometers. This investment in gas portfolio, along with the silver lining of which we talked about, the pandemic, which has reduced the global crude oil price and as well as softened the LNG prices, would create a platform for the growth into this space, as well the gas-based power business too. And the one which we talked about, the combined heat and power for malls and industries, you will see the growth in this sector. So in that sense, it looks very promising, but at the same time, I think I would like to also highlight one point of this whole exercise is there has been an uncertainty in the past of this gas industry because of the historical high LNG prices and the price fluctuation, which needs to be addressed for India in order to transition from where we are today to what government is committed to the gas-based economy in the downline. So it's very promising. At the same time, there are few levers that we need to turn around to make it happen for the gas-based economy for India. The other segment that we are looking at the growth is infrastructure. And again, I'm saying this with the confidence to say that government continues to pump in the money into the building infrastructure, even post-pandemic. We are seeing the push in the infrastructure. And as we recover on the path of recession, government continues to push for infrastructure, leading to major cities and metros setting up the sewage treatment plant, which is another opportunity for gas engines that we are looking to grow. Now, let me touch upon the other couple of countries, which is one I would love to touch is the Bangladesh. The situation is far more better in terms of the gas there because they have a domestic natural gas in Bangladesh, which is available to meet the energy requirements. So it can be better positioned for the growth. At the same time, the country Bangladesh is still witnessing a sluggish market, and we are looking this last 2 quarters experiencing sluggish, and maybe it will be another quarter of sluggish before country moves and successfully comes out of the pandemics at the point of time. But it is a country to watch for the gas engine to grow. Sri Lanka is another country maybe I can touch upon, has been promising to install gas-based power for some time, and the country has been working on gas exploration and tenders have been already floated, and even talking about building an LNG terminal. So hence the countries have begun to reopen. I would summarize to say that countries have begun to reopen. We expect a moderate uptick in the demand of gas engines and as well as the gas power, and we all need to be positioned better, harness this as and when it opens. However, I think we always have to take a word of caution when we talk about the growth and opportunity because of the pandemic situation. So the importance of discovery of the COVID vaccine is very key here. And as the scientists and governments race towards the cure, there is a bit of uncertainty for all our industries to forecast a long-term view. That's where a little bit of uncertainty is there. At the moment, many companies, including Innio and other industries, are confident in their ability to navigate the COVID-related volatility. We have continued, in fact, I'm talking about Innio now. We have continued to invest our planned investments in our businesses, which we have done, and we expect all this will enhance our competitiveness in the coming days. Innio is also getting ready for the future growth opportunity in terms of the carbon neutral fuel, hydrogen. We look hydrogen as a new growth opportunity because it's a completely carbon neutral, environmental friendly. We are developing gas engines that can burn 100% hydrogen and giving a cleaner energy for the environment. These are all the growth opportunities in the countries, in the business, and across the globe too.
So Prashant, you talked about three different countries. You talked about India, you talked about Bangladesh, and you talked about Sri Lanka. When you talk about that consumption in India, gas consumption in India in terms of energy is going to increase from 6% to 15%. That's 2.5 times the growth. And you also said that there's a great possibility, and the government is committed towards increasing the investment in infrastructure, and that's a big boost for your business. And similarly, you talked about Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. So can we expect barring the COVID timelines and other things, whatever constraints COVID is making in terms of the growth of the economy or whatever the stuff is, can we expect a good amount of growth coming in if COVID doesn't interfere in between?
Absolutely, Pankaj, for sure. I mean, all this, as these investments which talked about, as it comes in, there will be quite a lot of job and as well as employment opportunities across South Asia, I would say. Expected investments in India for a gas-based economy, which we talked about, will raise the employment growth rate by 300 basis points. These employment opportunities can be across the gas spectrum. So we will witness employment growth opportunities both directly and as well as indirectly. These can be right from job opportunities or employments in the LNG sector, liquid natural gas sector, as we build it up there, to the gas distribution sector, and the city gas distribution, compressed natural gas, as well as our industry, which is gas-based power industry. We talked about building and saving money for the hospitals, malls and buildings and industries. So you can expect all jobs, employment coming in this sector, either directly or indirectly. And also let me touch upon we talked about digital solutions, right? So there will be new job and employment opportunities due to technological enhancement that we are witnessing here, which is mainly in digitization, artificial intelligence, remote monitoring and handling, servicing remotely, and so on. I think it's a good new opportunities as well as the growth opportunities which will create into the employment for all of us in the coming days, I would say.
So I would rather say it is a perfect example of turning an adversity into an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Is working really hard in terms of ensuring that the opportunity are not missed. At the same point of time, helping the society to get clean fuel, clean energy, to get better lives in quarters to come and in months to come. Obviously, that's a great deed for the society and also for mankind. Prashant, you talked a lot about the business and the kind of prospects it has for the society. Let me come back to probably have some kind of discussion around your leadership and around your life. So can you share some memories from your personal life which has been inspirational in leading a successful corporate journey so far?
Yeah, thanks, Pankaj. I think that was a good one. As I begin about my career and the best practices, I think I would like to compliment that. You captured it well on summarizing the entire positive, cleaner energy and employment opportunity. That's a good one. So let me come to the last one which you talked about, which is on the best practices, right? So I can probably list down the few here, and maybe one or two or three, maybe more. There are few factors that can contribute to a successful corporate life, and I can list from my experience. The first is to have a long-term view of the corporate career plan. So whenever we plan the career, it needs to be a long-term view. As I said in the beginning, and we can correlate here, to recover from a pandemic, there is no magic and there is no shortcut. Similarly, in a successful career in a corporate life, one needs to have a long-term view, and there is no shortcuts, less of shortcut, let's put this way. And as well, you got to have a long-term view. In my career, I just give an example. I transitioned from technical role to a commercial role, but I did spend more than a decade of technical roles before moving into the commercial roles. And I think it's helping me today do a better job in the commercial because of the technical role that I have done for a decade or so. So that first point I would like to have says, always plan your career for a long term. Mm-hmm. The second one is to say, always be a learner and also bring a can-do attitude, an optimistic view for whether it is a business challenge or a job which you have been assigned or you're taking voluntarily in the organizations. Let's connect back to the pandemic, right? So this is a right scenario to look at. We have challenges in this pandemic situation, which can make us look down. But at the same time, you and I talked about there are opportunities and there are silver lining that we can see and harness. Similar way, when you're doing a business, you got to be a learner, and you need to look to be a continuous learner, and as well bring that optimistic view and can-do approach to the table, and then your career can be better shaped, and you can be always look for a growth in those in the days come to forward. Finally, for a corporate life, and somebody had mentioned to me in my early career days, is to learn finance, and that has really helped me out, and I would like to add that here too. This is something, a very valuable advice that I got in early career of my corporate life, is to learn finance. I think this helped me a lot. Whether it's a corporate life or a personal life, finance makes a key, right? So even if you look at the pandemic situation, when a company or industry is planning to come out of this pandemics, you need to evaluate your risks financially, plan your finances and investments. So in a corporate life, I would always encourage, have a bit of exposure or a bit of learning in the finance. It does help you to grow your corporate life much better. So the list can go on, but I think top three in my view is always plan for a long term. Second is always be a learner and bring that optimistic view of can do. Third one is learn finance.
So Prashant, in this entire interview, you talked about that, the companies in the segment, in the sector where Innio is operating is going to grow like anything in months and years to come. You also talked about the positioning of Innio in terms of how the market is and how it is going to serve the market. You also talked about how carefully you have drawn a line as how we can probably, as a group can fight COVID at the same point of time, ensure that your customers are not disturbed in between, helping your customer with every bit possible to go to an extent to ensure customer centricity. So the kind of advice you gave to budding leaders in terms of finance and other things is really great, and it was great to have you on our show, Prashant. Thank you for your mind and heart talks. It was nice interacting with you in VYAPT Growth.
Yeah, I think Pankaj, it was my pleasure knowing you, and as well as the entire VYAPT team. And once again, I would like to congratulate you and as well as your entire VYAPT team for this wonderful series, and thanks for this very productive and interactive sessions of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.